Pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. This is the regular school board meeting, September 8th, 2025. We will start out with superintendent's report. Oh, no, we'll start with students report.
Give me up. What?
I'd like to introduce Charlie is returning, and then Weston is the new, so you'll be here this year and next year, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Pick me out.
All right.
Welcome. Coming.
Do that back. Okay, first one of the year. In the past month, the boys.
Make sure your mic is on.
Oh, yeah. That's the mic. In the past month, the boys cross country team is off to a great start, placing first at the first two meets at Apollo and Princeton. Last week, they played second at Rockford. The girls cross country team is also off to a great start this season, having won their first meet at St. Cloud Apollo, as well as the second meet in Princeton. Last Friday, they took second to Orono at the Rockville Invite. The swim and dive team relay meet scheduled for relay meet scheduled for August 26th was unfortunately canceled. Swim and dive had their first regular season meet against Big Lake on the 4th, where they won 102-79. The football team bounced back from a tough loss to top-ranked Orono with a score of 0-21 by beating Hutchinson this past week 42-6. Their message right now is to trust the coaches. They're having strong talent, but just need everyone in the right spots. The girls' tennis team is 8-2 so far. This past week, they played St. Francis and Thief River Falls. Boys soccer is 1-3 right now and had their first win last week against Cambridge. Girls soccer is off to a great start this season with a record 2-2-1. The top scorer has been Adele Changemeyer with a total of 8 goals. In drama, auditions for this fall's musical Mamma Mia have concluded and rehearsals have officially begun. Yearbook has begun strong with a start to the school year meeting to grow the team, taking pictures of sports and activities, and building the theme for the 2025-26 yearbook. The student council has been planning for a very early homecoming this year since early July. This year they will host their first semi-formal homecoming dance and are hoping for a good turnout. DECA kicked off early this year by selling goggles at open house. Next week they'll be hosting their first official meeting of the school year. The marching band wrapped up their season with high school bands preparing for this year's homecoming performance. And finally, NHS has had a strong presence at the first day of school again this year, welcoming freshmen at all of the doors.
All right, in the upcoming couple of weeks, the boys cross country team is at Little Falls this week and they'll look to continue their hot streak. Next week, they are excited to take their varsity team to the city to participate in a Roy Griak meet where they hope to run in the top race. The girls cross country team will also be in Little Falls this week on the 11th. They also have a Roy Griak meet with the boys, and the home meet is on September 25th. Looking ahead for the swim and dive team, they will have a dual meet away against Princeton on the 11th, and following that, they will have the Malacca Invitational on the 13th. They hope to continue their winning streak as a team as the season progresses. This week, the football team takes a long road trip to Fergus Falls to face the Skilled Otters, which should be another tough matchup. The girls' tennis team only has one match. They play Zimmerman this week. The boys' soccer team this week will play Princeton away, Little Falls home, and Chisago Lakes home. On Monday, the girls' soccer team will be on the road against Princeton. The drama students have started rehearsing the singing part of the musical and will start learning the stage work very soon. The student council is hosting a new member breakfast tomorrow and preparing for a busy week of dress-up days, pep fest, and coronation for homecoming. Later this month, DECA will be running concession stands on September 18th and 23rd. The money earned from this will go towards paying their national DECA dues. And NHS will be meeting this week to continue their planning on tackle cancer and We Scare Hunger events.
Any questions?
Nope. Off to a good start, sounds like.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, now we're on the superintendent's report.
Good. Yeah, we had our fall staff development and that was very well done. Carla and the principals and the directors all did a nice job with leading that with our staff. We had a couple of guest speakers for that as well, doing some care activities with our staff members. And so that was beneficial. That was something we threw together at the last minute, just kind of caring for the caregiver. It was called the training for that. So that was wonderful. We also did the special ed thing this year at the beginning of the year prior to that week. So those are really good activities. Students, really good to see them in the halls and things. And want to thank the parents and students for their flexibility as we start the year. We sent out a communication just to make sure we had everybody on our list last week, and so that was something we did. We want to make sure that we have everyone's information so that we can, when we need to contact them for different reasons, we have that available to them. I'll have a write-up in the Patriot News coming up either this week or next week on that. Will be submitted tomorrow to them, and it'll talk a little bit more about that. It'll talk about also School Board Appreciation Month, which is this month. So thank you to the school board members. It throws me off because they switched it. It used to be like April or May.
Yeah, and
Now it's in September, but so thanks to the school board members for their work on that. So that's in there, and then some stuff on the levy as well is going to be in that article too. The MSBA Leadership Conference is slated for Thursday, January 15th and Friday, January 16th. Just get that on your calendars. If you're interested in going, let me know. I'll have that in the next few months of stuff. And then the annual Truth and Taxation meeting will take place at December 1st at 6:30 p.m. That's an agenda item later on. And we also have been awarded the SFM Safety Grant for slip and fall prevention. Thanks to Rick and his team for submitting and receiving that grant. And I think Kevin helped out a little bit with that too. So it was really good to see that, and we'll continue to apply for more and more grants.
What does that entail?
There were equipment, some like rugs that were.
Anti-slip.
in the Food service, understanding, so some spills, it's not slippery.
Zipper?
But mostly there were protective equipment.
Like boot ice grippers on the
Yeah.
for boots and things like that.
Awesome.
Vests. Really a
Yeah.
huge grant, but it's good.
They give it to us and then we have to just turn it into pieces for what we purchase.
Awesome. Any questions for Jeremy?
Jeremy.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Moving on to item 2C, committee reports. Corey, you have an update on BEA?
We met on August 22nd, Monday, on the last time. Just kind of gave, I think it was the school board's second proposal, official proposal. Fairly well received, some dialogue back and forth. They were gonna have a meeting with their members, BEA was, with their members on that following Wednesday, that upcoming Wednesday, just to kind of share and see where they're gonna go. Obviously kind of some similar sticky points as most years that go through, but making some progress. There's not another date set yet. So we're just kind of waiting on BEA to set that date.
Busy time of year.
Busy time of year.
All right, any questions for Corey? All right, Pete and Ryan, you have 284 update?
Yes, so for 284 with the transportation, we're entering into mediation next week on the 24th, I believe it is, or a week and a half,
2 weeks.
And then with the multi-unit group, we gave them our last proposal, and we're just waiting to hear back a response from them.
And I think, yeah, just to add, I think that we've actually had some more positive conversations with members of that group this time around, so I'm happy to report that.
Yes.
Any questions for them? Okay, thank you. Brings me to item number 3, summary of the closed session. So in August, we had closed the session for Dr. Schmidt's evaluation. Just have a comment here. Some of the highlights that were mentioned often was Dr. Schmidt's active presence in our schools and in the community. You see him out and about at sporting events, at plays, at concerts, out and about in the community, the Lions, different places. His consistent effort with his legislators and the focus on strategic plan and financial management have helped keep Becker on track, moving in the right direction. We're proud of the progress that we have, and we look forward to the continued attention for supporting students and staff and keeping the family and the community well informed. Thank you, Jeremy. Moves us on to item number 4, consent agenda. I will entertain a motion.
Sure. I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda in front of us.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to accept consent agenda. Any questions or discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to item number 5, resolution of accepting donations. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the donations.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussions on donations?
Just a comment, at the end of thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
So even throughout the summer, I mean,
Mhm.
it's amazing. So we just got back off of summer break and here we have donations coming in already, so. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, general fund transfer. I don't know if Kevin wants to take this or.
Sure,
Kevin?
yes. The 10,000 for the early childhood screening is new, not new legislation, about 3 to 4 years ago already. When the screening expenses are more than the revenues that we bring in, the statute requires us to make a transfer to that fund to make it whole. So that one you've seen before. The $150,000 for the community education, there's a UFAR's allowance that says if we don't think that the fund is gonna come out of the hole that it's in, or the deficit that it's in the near future, that we can do a transfer over. And since there's a new community ed director, we're making that transfer to get it, doesn't bring it all the way down to zero, but about a $2,000 negative, so clean start going forward for the new person. Better evaluation for you guys, or Jeremy to evaluate the new director. That's what that one's been.
Yeah, I think they're on the right track just to go to community ed, but June was the biggest revenue year per month, I guess, that they had ever,
Ever.
and so
Yes.
Yeah,
they're on the right track and working.
results have been quite obvious and a lot of good feedback
More
and,
programs and.
just the notifications that are going out. I'm really impressed with that.
Yeah, and everyone should got their mailer, by the way.
Yep.
If you didn't, we have extra copies.
I will entertain a motion for general fund transfer.
I'll make a motion to approve the general fund transfer.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussions on that? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to item number 7, resolutions for MSBA delegate assembly. Jeremy, you want to speak to these?
Yeah, so these are the same ones that were on previously, working with MSBA, so we'll get these to the delegate assembly, which is in December. But they need to be, I think, done by middle of September here, approved by the board. This was a roll call vote, but all these things benefit Becker Public Schools, where the cybersecurity, which I think Channel 5 is doing another thing on cybersecurity, but it is an increased cost for schools. And so this is asking for additional funding from the state to help with that. Mental health funding, something that's always important and needs to be considered as well. The food service expenditures is something we've been fighting for the last few years, and we've slowly made progress on that one, but I think it can continue to go further. The unemployment aid is something I've talked about multiple times here as well, where it's fine, but someone needs to pay for it, and right now we don't know who's going to pay for it, and whether it's our operating levy in November if that passes, or the state continuing to figure out ways to fund it. I don't know, but money needs to come from somewhere for that, and it's a very expensive endeavor for the state to take on, or individual districts too. Then the ESST, employee safe and sick time, is just making it different for districts because it is private business has a different calendar, there's a lot of different things that come into play for that, and wanting to make sure that goes into place. And then the LTFM is continuing to create equity, I guess, in those funds and things like that. So, and again, working with MSBA, Denise and in their office and stuff, and just making sure we're getting these, and we're not gonna be the only ones with each of these, so there'll be other school districts as well. But if we could do a roll call and do them all together, or if there's one you want to pull off, they maybe don't agree with or whatever, let me know.
So these are all ones that we've had before,
Yes, yep,
whether they were last year.
we're
or
just
before.
continuing to, yeah, push the same thing, yeah.
All right,
Are they in order of
necessity.
necessity?
No,
Okay.
not, but they're just, I don't know what order they're in,
Okay.
it's the order we made them. So,
Well, this just goes to the assembly and then the assembly takes all of them from the different districts and says, okay.
Combined
which
with
is
the-
our priorities and,
Sure.
yeah.
So,
Ours have always been approved, and they just don't always get on the kind of the final document that they have where they, here's our top 3 things. Which usually ends up being, additional general funding. The inflationary one was a big one, keeping up with inflation. But yeah, they get on in the book, I guess, but not necessarily all the way to the platform.
no tax relief. huh?
But they know who to call when these things come up to go testify at the state level too.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been able to do that so much lately, is because we have so many of these and they're like, oh, call Jeremy, Yes,
We
he gets
can,
to
we
write
can
the
do all
book.
3 of them.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the different delegate assembly resolutions.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second, so it'll be a roll call. Ryan,
Aye.
Pete,
Aye.
me, I, Connie,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
motion passes. Brings us to preliminary levy 2025 payable for 2026. Kevin, this is you again.
Yep. So this was brand new. They just sent it to me at 4:30 this afternoon, so that's why you didn't see it earlier than that, but
We wanna, can everyone see it?
yeah,
it's here.
everybody should be able to,
I won't project.
no, because it's in here, no. I was able to get it to Angel to add it. So the first page is the general fund. I'll go through some of these. So the operating referendum levy, you'll see it's $165,000 increase. It's just due to the inflationary increase that we have in that. Most of these other ones you'll see are negatives, and those are adjustments down from the previous years. So they use estimates that we give them the year before, and then they find out what the actuals are, and then they adjust them in the current year. So they're always like 2 years behind with the adjustments. That's what most of these are cleanups on adjustments. But in the general fund, the proposed levy increase is $78,010. The next page, the community education fund, there you'll see the basic community ed levy is the same as the previous year, because they still use the same census that you had from the previous year. It's the 10-year-old census. Early childhood, again, that's from some adjustments that were from previous years. So this fund actually has a 21,634 decrease. And remember, this is preliminary at 4:30. The state will have some adjustments to these. I know they will. They don't have everything completely cleaned up. But it's what I had to be. I wanted to show you some numbers, at least what their preliminary was.
Yeah, but can I just ask a quick question with the early childhood levy? Would that be because just the number of kids that are in the program? Or
yep.
why such a decrease?
Yep, it's the number of kids in the program, and if the early ed gave me numbers when I put them in initially and they were too high.
Sure.
And then, okay, then the next year, when we actually had the final numbers, then they take that difference and then they lower it. Or it's a negative adjustment because we levied too much in that previous year
Yep.
based on that higher number.
Based on the number of kids that thought they would have.
Yep, exactly. Then the debt service, and the way this one works, we have to levy by law 105% of our principal and interest payments on our bonds. And that's that first number, that's the levy amount. But then you'll see a reduction for debt excess. So what happens is they look at how much fund balance we have, and we didn't have that 5% delinquencies that's required to levy that extra 5%. We don't have that many delinquencies. So then their fund balance builds up and then they do a calculation. And they say, oh, you don't need that much in your fund balance. So then they lower the levy by that overage that we had in previous years. So that one's a 59,978 decrease. And then the last page just shows you the total. It's those same three. The overall change, it's actually a 0.03%, so it's $3,602 less than our previous year. As of now, you know, they may make adjustments to this. And obviously, this doesn't have the referendum vote that's coming up in November. Those aren't included in here. But these numbers will even have some changes. That's why we do the maximum. Because if you'd actually propose a levy to be the dollar amount, then you're stuck with that dollar amount. But if the state comes through with some changes, when we do the maximum for preliminary, then it takes into account those changes. But I always want to show you a number at least, so you kind of know where it's gonna be, but it won't change a lot to this. Might go up some or it might come down some, but once they're done with all their numbers. Any other questions? Okay, well then we do need a vote.
Yep. Entertain a motion to accept maximum preliminary.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed. Motion carries. That brings us to item number 8, meetings, number 9, meetings adjourned. Thank you. Corey, you can get home. You get home and
Minus.
Corey, you'll have time to make a hot dog.